Hey everyone, welcome to Vinyl Addict. This is Chili, and it's been a while since I've done a video on a Super Deluxe Edition box set, and I have quite a few, but I don't know, it's just there's a lot of hassle with getting them out and whatnot. But I took this one out and was listening to it, and it was just like, wow, I thought I'd share on this one. This is Verve's Urban Hymns. And this album came out in '97, and this was probably the last of the great Brit Pop bands. And this album definitely made an impact, as the song Bittersweet Symphony was, was even nominated for Best Rock Song by a Band or Duo for Bittersweet Symphony, which lost to Aerosmith. Pink, which I thought was an injustice, because the song is awesome, but the whole album is awesome. So I'm going to go through this set, and the one thing I mentioned before when I did Super Deluxe Edition videos with, like, say, Black Sabbath, and things that I look for are not only the B-sides, if there's different recordings from that session of that album, and a live uncut concert, which is really cool too, as part of the celebrating that album and that tour and everything, and liner notes about information about the album, the recording and the tour and all that good stuff. First and foremost though, they do have a book, but there are no liner notes on here. It's just great pictures of the band. Recording, and there's some good live pictures on here as well. There's Richard. Now this would be their last album. After this they break up. The second time they broke up, and they wouldn't reconvene until another 10 years, and they reunited and put out another album called Fourth, around 2011 or something like that, 2000. But this is like the pinnacle of their career. This is the album that which got everyone's attention. So it's just pretty much that, like like I said, photographs here, great pictures, no liner notes, and this is like a band that I feel is. After looking at the pictures and everything, was like, well, you know what, maybe you don't want to know that much about them, and they kind of like have a cool mystique about them. But as far as the album is concerned, the packaging is great. They come in these little, each of them come in these little envelope type packages, boxes, and then the album is inside it. So this is the album, and it's double. And here's the songs. Side A is Bittersweet Symphony, Sonnet, The Rolling People. Side B is The Drugs Don't Work, Catching the Butterfly, Neon Wilderness. Side C is Space of Time, Weeping Willow, Lucky Man, One Day. And side D is This Time, Velvet Morning, Come On. So there's this track list right there. And just like how the CD was, there's the label for the album. This is a gatefold. Some more pictures. There's a lot of great pictures of this band. And the last one, bigger picture of that. So Simon Jones is bass guitar, and Peter Salisbury is drums. Great rhythm section. It's very underrated, but I always think that these two guys are just like the secret weapon of this band. But that Nick McCabe is also a great lead guitarist. Very unconventional in a sense, but he knows how to create sonic landscapes, which is crazy. And you know, these guys are into like Pink Floyd and all that kind of psychedelic rock back in the day. They're into like Eddie Hazel, Funkadelic, you know, Maggot Brain, and you could hear it in his music. You know, it's just awesome. Now, I would say that this is probably one of the greatest rock albums of the 90s. And, you know, one thing I like about them is that, and the Brit Pop bands in general, is that they pretty much, you know, they kind of brought back the whole swagger of rock and roll like Oasis did. And, you know, they didn't complain or whine about being rock stars. They kind of embraced it, you know, and they were just cool. And whether it's their drug taking, and that's another thing about what these bands do. I mean, like, there are some bands that just, you know, can't work with their drugs, or at the height of it, you know. These guys, yeah, they do drugs, but they put out some great music. And then, you know, some bands like Aerosmith, they put out like horrible albums on, you know, on drugs. But, you know, like Pink Floyd, you know, you get those bands that just know how to work with their drugs, you know, until they go insane. But the Verve, yeah, they put out this classic album. And when I mean classic, it's just because classic rock, I believe, is like from 1964 to 1977, because that's when punk rock came in and just like ended classic rock. But I mean classic in a sense where the album is just great from beginning to end. There's no filler. And the thing about it is, like, here are the B-sides. Okay, so let me show you. Here's a gatefold. And the thing about these B-sides is that from these sessions, these songs are all good. You know, they could have just put out a double album, you know, at this point, because after listening to this stuff, it's just like, it doesn't sound like outtakes or just songs that are just like, okay, what is, you know, that doesn't seem like it would fit on the album, but everything seems like it would fit. Now, so here are the only things that I don't agree on are some of the remixes, but the B-sides, like Lord, I Guess I'll Never Know, country song, So Sisters, great, it's like an acoustic piece, and Bittersweet Symphony, it's a James Lavelle remix, is not that good, it's just a drum beat, and it's the song. I mean, after hearing the classic version, it's just, you know, anything else fails in comparison. Now they have an extended version, which is cool, of just the song, because the album version that we hear is edited down. Now other songs on here: Echo Bass, Three Steps, The Crab, Stamped. There's The Drugs Don't Work, an original demo, which is just Richard and his guitar. Acoustic guitar is really good. Never Want to See You Cry. The Longest Day is really cool. It's like a long, kind of trippy kind of piece. And they do a lot of that, you know. MSG is an instrumental track. This Could Be My Moment. I mean, some of this stuff is so... it shows how really diverse they are, but you wouldn't know that just hearing the stuff that's on the regular album. But some of this stuff is kind of would have shown a lot more variety, and it would have been cool if some of it was on there. I think it would have been great if it was just like I said, a double album. And Monte Carlo's a cool song, so there's that. And the labels on here show the guys. Now with the whole thing about the Bittersweet Symphony, that was, I guess, you know, there was a lot of things going on here while making this album, and on this completion, there's a lot of lawsuits. The ex-manager, or the manager at the time, Alan Klein of the Rolling Stones, who owns a copyright for this the song that they sampled the last time from the Rolling Stones. He sued the band, and inadvertently Mick and Keith got 100% of the songwriting credit and the royalties, and nothing went to Ashcroft. He got nothing. Keith and Mick later on said, you know what, they said give him everything, and we don't want to be, you know, we don't want any credit for the song, we don't want any of the royalties for it. And it was a big smash, you know. So that was kudos to them for making Keith, because it's like, you know, giving where credit is due, you know. But there's always going to be somebody in a band's camp that wants to, you know, get a piece of the pie. So the last thing here is the live material. Yeah, live at Hay Hall at 5/24/98. Now this is a complete set, a complete show, and there's 15 songs, and 12 of them are from the album. 12 of them are representing urban hymns. There's only one song they don't do from urban hymns, and I believe that is, what song was that? This Time. But everything else, I mean, so we start off with This Is Music. Northern, yeah, it's mainly from the last, the album before this, Northern Soul. So This Is Music, Space and Time, Catching the Butterfly, Sonnet. So those are all urban hymns. Side 2, The Rolling People, Neon Wilderness, Weeping Willow, The Drugs Don't Work, Lucky Man, all from urban hymns. Life's an Ocean, there's another one from Northern Soul, Velvet Morning, Bittersweet Symphony. And last, the encore is One Day, History, and Come On. So you got History from the last, the album Northern Soul. So there's 3 from that, and the rest is, you know, the album from which is This Is All About, you know, urban hymns. And so here's some live footage, live photos. And show of hands. This concert really sounds really good. It kind of reminds me of like how 70s albums, as far as like live performances are concerned. There's no canned applause, you know, like what Kiss did on Alive, where they just get this, you know, they insert and mix in this loud crowd, and it sounds like, you know, the band is on fire and stuff like that. It's not like that. The crowd is loud anyway, and you could hear it shift in and out, especially that there's some talking, but it's done really well. It's mixed really well, and that's the thing. It's when you hear like really bad canned applause, like a real bad example is if you have the Rattle and Hum album by U2. You turn on, you drop the needle on that on the first song, you know, Helter Skelter, or All Along the Watchtower on the second side, and you just hear this fake ass crowd, and it's horrible, you know. So here we go. This is just 100% real, and I like that. And it's the complete set, you know. I looked it up, and it was like, yeah, if there was anything cut from this performance, and there wasn't any, so that's really cool. And so it's weird because it's like you got these shows, how, you know, like how bands play like 20th anniversary of their own album, and they'll play the whole thing or most of the album from beginning to end, or they'll just play, you know, most of the tracks specializing on, you know, that album, and they'll bring back the t-shirt and all that stuff. And, you know, these guys are playing this whole album as if it was, because it is a great album, you know what I mean? And it's just from beginning to end, this album is just one of the best. And as far as like those bands that, you know, I thought they were probably the only ones that were doing interesting things in the late 90s, or early or mid 90s to late, like, you know, the whole Brit Pop thing, starting from the Stone Roses to Charlatans UK, Happy Mondays, that whole Manchester scene. This band, and of course Oasis, but I think the Verve got it right with this album. This album is just a classic rock album from beginning to end. It's just an amazing album. The musicianship and everything, they got it right, you know. It's, there it is. Urban Hymns. Okay, so, you know, don't forget to hit the like button, comment below. You know, what did you think of the whole Britpop thing, the Verve, Oasis, those type of bands? Some of the people didn't like it. I thought it was the only interesting thing that was going on in the mid-90s. You know, there were so many bands, Suede, London Suede, you know, that came from that time, you know, and I just thought the bands had a cool rock star kind of swagger to them than, say, like the Seattle scene, where, you know, they were just pretty much whining about shit, being a rock star and all that. While these guys, I liked how they just embraced it and owned it and said, fuck it, you know, that's what a rock band should be doing. So, you know, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.